alternatives. Because if not, if you sit there and start checking off and saying, well, what really is driving this decision? Is it simply a want? Why do I want that? What is the desire? We start asking our questions. And if we can't come up with good answers and good information, then guess what? Is that our desires or our emotions are overdriving and overreacting. And again, we all know that this turns into very bad decisions. If you don't think so, simply look in the newspaper. Look at what's going on in the world. Okay? Emotions and desires. When we take a look at critical thinking, if you take a look at your handbook, you'll notice this little round circle. These are the elements of thought. Is that also, too, is when you're coming up with a decision, you can use these elements to be able to look at why are you making this decision. Okay? Mainly is, first of all, is what is the main purpose behind you making this decision? Why your decision to drop my class because you got an F in your midterm? Is it because you don't like me? Maybe you did the work, but you didn't do it as accurate as you did. Did you ever think about what the objective, what the goal is? Are you looking at the decisions from what? Your only point of view, your egotistical point of view? That, hey, I'm right. I should have got an A. He gave me an F. He's a crazy, stupid instructor, and I'm going to go and rate the professor, and I'm just going to slam him all over the place. So, what's actually, whose point of view are you looking at? In the first session, we talked about egocentric thinking. Egocentric thinking is simply that your thinking is the best thinking. Your thinking is wrong. Your thinking is wrong. And your thinking is wrong, and mine is right. And if you don't think that happens, every day we have to be on guard for our thinking to making sure that it's not egocentric, that we're simply not looking at it from our point of view. And we see that every day. You see that in marriages. Oh, be quiet, honey. I'm going to buy that vehicle. It's the best vehicle that we need. It's a Ford F-250. I'll run it. 50 grand. No big deal. Don't worry about it. Whose point of view are you looking at now? Here we go. Egocentric, right? Or more classical down here. Hey, the machismo look, right? So, whose point of view are we looking at? Okay? What are the questions that we're trying to answer when we're taking a look at this, at our decision making? What are the questions that we need to start asking ourselves? And in the second session, I talked about questions, and even in the first session. One of the biggest problems that we have today with you guys is that this. You know what it is? Anybody have any questions? Oh, there we go. Good. In probably the 3 years that I gave these sessions, that exactly is the problem right there. You guys don't ask questions. And you know who's to blame for it? We are, because we built it. Ever since in kindergarten, what do we have you do? Okay, boys and girls, sit down, be quiet, listen to me. Okay, middle school, sit down, shut up, listen to me. High school, sit down, be quiet. It's all focused on me, and then all of a sudden you get to college and you start saying, hey, can you compare and contrast? What is your view? And we get this. And it not only happens here in school. You go out and you buy a vehicle. You decide to sit there and you want to date. You want to marry. Hi, I'd like to marry you. Okay, do you like this? Do you like that? Yeah, sure. Okay, we can marry now. And it's kind of hilarious and funny, but I'm here to tell you, that's what happens. How many questions did you ask before you started dating your boyfriend or your girlfriend? How many things did you ask them? How did you get into your conversations? Now, the bottom line is that it not only happens in our social world, but it also happens here at college, but also at work. We've got to be able to ask questions. So what are the important questions we need to ask ourselves? At the same time, what are the concepts? What is the information that we need to be able to answer or take care of this decision? And what are we safe in assuming? In the first session, we talked about assumptions. Can an assumption, do we all know what assumption is? Assumption is simply, it's a fact. It's a belief. You believe, or you're assuming that something is true. Do you ever validate those assumptions? If I told you right now, I won't pick on you anymore, man. If I was to tell you, sir, that at 12 o'clock tonight the moon's going to turn purple, the rays of the sun are going to reflect off of Venus, they're going to come in at a 15-degree ratio, it's going to hit the moon, and it's going to turn into purple. Would you safe into assuming, because I said that it's true? Come on now. But again, too, is there you go. How do you know? How can I safely validate that? Now, if I told you right now that in the Valley Morning Star, did everybody read about 2 weeks ago? Valley Morning Star, they did a research study and found out a report that all the males 17 through 24, ready for this? 90% HIV positive. You too can move away from them if you want to move away. Do you believe that report? Oh, you're shaking your head now because I'm talking about assumptions. Would you believe the fact that I just made that up? So, if it was in a newspaper, are you going to believe it? Can you validate it? So again, too, when we're making decisions, we need what assumptions are we safe in believing and not believing. At the same time, what are going to be the likely implications and the consequences of your decisions? Have you ever thought about that when you made a decision? Did you ever think about what the implications or consequences are? Does everybody know the difference here between an implication and a consequence? Yes or no? Okay, let's talk about this. Here, you're my son. It's Friday night. Harlingen South is going to go play San Benito, and San Benito's going to probably beat up on him, right? All right, not any laughter at that. Okay. The bottom line is you come up to me and says, hey, Dad, we're going to watch a football game. And I say, okay, son, be home at 12 o'clock. And he turns around and goes, yeah, right. All right? As he's walking out the door, knowing he's not going to come home to 2 o'clock in the morning, did he think of the likely implications before he made that decision? Or what's going to happen when he walks in at 2 o'clock in the morning and simply sitting there drinking coffee and going, hi, son, our watch break? Does he think about the consequences after it happens of what's going to happen then when I ground him forever for sitting there and coming at 2 o'clock in the morning? So, when we're making decisions, do we ever take a look at possible, likely, inevitable implications, as well as what are going to be the consequences? Are they going to be positive or negative? So, why are decisions so important? Because we consistently have to make decisions. Now, what's the whole relationship behind critical thinking and decision making? Well, for us to make good decisions, we need critical thinking to be the vehicle to be able to take a look at all the alternatives. You know, decision making, you can go up on Google, you can Google decision making. If you really want a definition for decision making, it's simply this, is that you have a problem or an issue that you need to select from a series of alternatives and make a decision on which alternative you want to select. There it is. It's a choice between, hey, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Which one are you going to pick? And of course, we need to use critical thinking. We need to take a look at all the elements of thought. We need to take a look at our critical thinking standards. Is it clear? Is it in-depth? And be able to take a look at every alternative and come up with the best solution, the best alternative that I can pick right there. That's what critical thinking allows us to do. It allows us also to look at the information, to discern, to judge whether I need to believe that the moon is going to turn purple, or whether that this study is correct. We need to be able to look at it, because critical thinking allows us to start asking questions. It allows us to use our mind and be able to look at everything so that we can make a good, rational, reasoned, and informed decision. If you take a look at the college's definition for critical thinking, the last N simply says this: the ability to be able to engage in these processes in order to make an informed decision. We all want to make an informed decision, not an uninformed decision, because uninformed decisions simply mean this: something might possibly happen that's not going to be to your liking. So we always want to make an informed decision. But also, too, it simply provides all the necessary skills. Critical thinking allows us to observe. It allows us to look. It allows us to look at information, to look at people, to notice their body behavior, to begin to sit there and believe if this is true or if this is false. So critical thinking is a valuable part in enabling us to be able to make good informed decisions. You can't make a good informed decision without critical thinking. It is the vehicle that gets us there and be able to make these decisions. Now, with any type of decision making, there are some basic components that I want to talk about that are always there in decision making. But I want to give you a scenario. Everybody ready? And we'll use this throughout the session. Okay, I wave my magic wand, and you guys are all now managers here at TSTC. You work right over here at this building called Building 9. It is about 9 o'clock. You just stepped out of the door right there.